Welcome to Your Business TV, television with information that is positive and uplifting. My name is Laura Hartman, and I'm your host. Today, we have a very special guest joining us who is an artist, and you might have heard of her because she made headlines in 2017 with a sculpture called Fearless Girl, which now stands in front of the Bull on Wall Street. So without further ado, please welcome to the show, Kristen Visbal. Welcome to the show, Kristen. How are you?
Thank you so much, Laura. It's great to be here. I'm doing good. Thank you.
Great. So let's talk about equal pay for women. Yeah. Statistics show that women are paid up to 30% less than men.
Yes.
We're in 2022.
There's a lot of reasons for that. And one I think that's often overlooked is the fact that women are the lion's share of unpaid caretakers.
Yeah.
So UN Women did a study recently that showed all of these, taking care of grandpa at home are handled by a woman. And the other reason is that men are getting the governance positions, they're getting the board positions, the management positions that are paid higher.
Right.
So the other thing that we found is that the best leaders are developed from the STEAM studies. So science, technology, engineering, arts, and math are the studies that best prepare someone to lead. So if you have children, you can encourage them to get involved in science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, and hopefully they will have a very bright future as a leader and be paid more.
Now, do you know if they have like specialty groups or classes for like young kids or even like high school kids?
There's all kinds of programs, for science, I'm trying to remember the name of the group, but it's young programmers, computer programmers that are immersed in programs. Almost every one of those disciplines has got specialty programs to nourish youngsters. So the issue is that we are still very much the result of the way we've been socialized over centuries. So, if you have Johnny as a child, you want to give Johnny the fire truck instead of the doll baby. And I think it's very important. There's a lot of psychologists that have written about this, to allow your children to gravitate towards what naturally they're interested in and let them be who they are.
Okay.
And I also think that both men and women have got the opposite gender in them to a degree. So there's a really interesting study called the Brainscape study. And they found almost 100 differences between men and women, cognitive differences, where women use more white matter, men use more gray matter. Men are better at spatial visualizations, seeing something in the 3D space, which for me, that's easy because I'm a sculptor. Women are really good with the verbal skills. Men are excellent at pouncing on a short-term opportunity that needs a quick decision. Women are less litigious. So if you have women in your company at the management level, you're much less likely to have a company that is litigious.
So diversification is very much pushed into the media line. I know it with the company that I work for, we've covered that a lot this year and last year too, which is a great thing.
The hot new topic, right?
It's definitely a hot new topic, but at the same token, I can see that it can be thrown a little bit overboard to where people are confused.
Diversity, look, the bottom line is that we're better together as genders, but also as different cultures. And the more you mix it up, the better the decision that you get. So the diversity studies started in the early 60s.
Oh, wow.
There's a huge body of research about the effectiveness of genders working together. And what they found in the end, and part of the reason that I think Fearless Girl was so popular, is that they found the research scientifically proves that men and women are better together. So we talked about the Brainscape study and the 100 cognitive differences between men and women. When you put men and women together, and I personally believe a variety of cultures, you come up with better decisions, and those better decisions are more profitable. So the minute you attach money to something, Laura, people start towing the rope and they realize, oh, wow, these companies are much more profitable because they have diversity, especially at the management level. So they now want to incorporate diversity into their company. The only issue is that they've found that you can't force diversity. You cannot force it. It's got to be a company philosophy that trickles down from the CEO level, so that you naturally have an appreciation as a male or female CEO for the other gender, and you understand, the wisdom of gender diversity. So you might get sick of hearing about it, but it's actually it's very important, right? And it's the truth. And I think it is kind of like the enlightened path forward for the global society, that we understand that we can't keep carrying around these biases that we have, because we all come into this world like a clean slate, right? And we learn from our parents. So we need to unlearn prejudices and start seeing each other for the individuals that we are and the individual complexities that we bring to the decision-making process.
Sure, and the talents.
Right, exactly. But your culture, most of us say, wow, okay, well, they do things differently than I do. And, we're American girls, and maybe they've been brought up in a tribal life in Africa, which is a very different culture. And because we don't understand it, we tend to maybe look down on it. And I mean, it's natural for all of us if you're not comfortable with a different culture. And the point is to embrace the different culture.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So let's talk about Fearless Girl.
A problem child.
Yeah, your problem child, but she's also a blessing to this world from you.
Oh,
and she's definitely a symbolism for many, for everybody, not just women and children or young girls, but it's a message for everybody worldwide. So what gave you the idea to create her?
I really appreciate that you appreciate Fearless Girl. And let me just say that she legally stands for equality, equal pay, empowerment, education for the prevention of prejudice, and the general well-being of women. I think that's everything. Oh, supporting women in leadership positions. Okay. So definitely gender focused, but you're right. She really is a symbol of empowerment and equality symbol that is for everyone. And it wasn't my idea. Fearless Girl, this is what's so perfect. So the research I told you about, the gender research, we found that collaboration leads to the best decisions. And Fearless Girl was 100%, the concept of Fearless Girl was collaborative. So she was the idea of McCann Creative Team, McCann New York Advertising. So they had originally wanted to place a cow in front of Charging Bull to call attention to the glass ceiling women face on Wall Street in regard to promotion and pay. And of course, they couldn't sell that. So one of their executives said, okay, why don't you change out that cow for a little girl? And they came looking for a woman who worked in bronze and who had sculpted children. And I did my apprenticeship at this very prestigious sculpture park in Mercerville called the Grounds for Sculpture. It's amazing. I mean, there's a lake, they built a stream, there's a little pond, and it's a really mostly abstract art. And then there's realistic art that was Stuart Johnson's realistic work. It's amazing. So my friend Marta called me. We worked together. I had an apprenticeship in wax chasing when I did my internship in lost wax casting. And she ran that department. She had a client who was looking for someone to sculpt a little girl. And I said, well, Marta, I haven't sculpted a child in like 12 or 14 years, and I'm not sure I want to. I was about to embark on this very really distortion of the human form. And she got really quiet. And she said, I think you should talk to him. And I said, well, okay, because I trusted her. And so this gentleman called me and sent me 2 pages. And one page had a watercolor of a little girl that was maybe 2 years old with braids and sandals and the Wonder Woman pose in front of Charging Bull. And I laughed. And the next page, or actually that page, said, we're calling attention to the glass ceiling on Wall Street and telling women to stand up for their rights. Okay. And I laughed, and he said, can you make that by the end of the month? And I was like, oh yeah, yes, I can. I can make it because I'm a woman. And I think wonderful message, right?
Sure.
And so that's how it came to be. But under my advice, she grew 15 inches. So she would have just a little more presence in front of that big bull. And then I found a couple of models and I made up the face and I added wind and I ordered a simple dress and some high tops. So,
wow.
Yeah, that's how she came to be. So collaborative. The concept was collaborative, but it is my artwork.
Sure. So from when you started, before you started Fearless Girl, how did you perceive the future? And now that you're in the future from when you started, how are you seeing things?
Well, I remember we didn't finish installing the figure until 5:20 in the morning. So
wow,
interesting, because the park didn't like the idea of placing this child on the park grounds. So the ad agency got permitting from the city to place the figure on city property. And Bowling Green Park is a triangle, and we extended the narrow end of the park by about 6 feet by laying a stainless steel plate down and then matching the cobblestone as best we could and extending that park out. Once we had that, we installed the figure. When they initially put her in, there was a really steep downgrade there. And she was leaning forward. I said, she's leaning forward. We need to redo it. We reset her. And it took all night. We started at 11 o'clock at night. We wanted it to be, a surprise, that she would just appear like Charging Bull had appeared 30 years ago. And when I walked away, I said, well, people are going to either love her or they're going to hate her. And I went back to the hotel room, and boy, they loved her. And I spent days spending 17 hours at a time, 23 hours at a time, answering emails, well-wishers, the media. It was really crazy. It turned my life upside down. And I was really excited, Laura, because I guess, my father was a Foreign Service diplomat, and he worked for the Inter-American Development Bank as an economist and dedicated most of his life to improving the quality of life for the masses, the people in the hills. And so maybe there is some of him in me. But I remember working in the studio and crying because all my friends were at a breast cancer walk, and I always had some big deadline and I could never do it. And I thought, I'm not doing anything for charity. So when we unveiled Fearless Girl, I got really excited because I thought, okay, well, I don't have to worry about money anymore. And I can do charitable work at the same time, the best of both worlds, right? So I really didn't envision, fast forward 2 years, the trouble that I would have. And Fearless Girl, I think it's very interesting because this figure has kind of pulled out of society certain reactions that I think are kind of a template of our society and the issues within that society. So, when we first unveiled Fearless Girl, there was a guy like the next night who was caught on camera lewdly demonstrating in front of Fearless Girl, this little girl, right? Then we had a conservative Italian sculptor up in arms because we had placed a little girl in front of his sculpture. And, we initially were only going to place her there for 7 days. So I asked him to join me, but I don't think that he saw the beauty.
Sure. Or the symbolism of it.
Right.
So he was the artist for the bowl?
Yes. And he's since passed, but we will always honor, at least I will, his wish to not have that figure in front of his sculpture. So, and really, we don't need to have her there anymore. It was a great visual, but we've got the point. And, you can take a look at Fearless Girl with her obstinate pose and the strength. And I think it's very empowering to deal with no matter whatever you're dealing with. And I remember an organization coming to me, Bright Pink, and they wanted Fearless Girl there to empower women that were fighting breast cancer. So the figure kind of resonated with everyone, but with the women, the women also said, why did you make a little girl? Are you trying to diminutize women? Well, no, the idea was to send a message about tomorrow, that the way the global gender, there are more women in the world than there are men. And women are kind of funneling into the workplace, and they are the future. So the point was to make a statement. And then the final blow was a sculptor, a man, who made a pug dog with its leg lifted, essentially urinating on Fearless Girl, which, think about that. I want you to just take a minute.
Yeah.
Think about those 4 issues and demonstrations around this figure. And what does that say about our society? And don't we still have some issues to work through?
There's a lot of issues. There's a lot of issues.
But, the point is to grow, right? And so we have the Statue of Liberty, and we have the Scales of Justice, and now we have Fearless Girl. And I think that she took off because women have been fighting for their rights forever.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
They needed a symbol, and all of a sudden they have one.
Yeah. I mean, our grandmothers, like my grandmother left Maine and went down to Boston on her own when she was 18 and fought for women's rights.
Wow.
Back in the 20s,
That's amazing.
I think a lot of people had their, family members get involved back then, so.
I think the major cities also, they offered a lot of education for people, because I was thinking about the conversation I had the day before yesterday with the curator of our Brook Green Gardens Sculpture Park down in South Carolina. It's the largest collection of American realistic works in the world.
Wow.
It's a very impressive, beautiful botanical preserve, just beautiful. But the woman who started it was Anna Hyatt Huntington and Archer Milton Huntington. But Anna was this very strong sculptor who was earning a great deal of money for her era. So another example for all of us. And I believe that everybody should prosper, either man or woman.
Sure.
We're all in this together. The point is to understand that we need each other, that we cannot achieve our peak potential as individual genders without the other gender. And that, I think, is kind of a light bulb going off for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know why all these people did stuff to the statue in a negative way.
Right.
Whether they're mentally ill or what the deal was. The majority of the population sees the beauty in it and the symbolism for it,
The majority of them. But I think, in the case of a conservative artist from, I just think he was the subject or the culmination of his own life experiences. And maybe he just wasn't, and maybe it wasn't a statement about women at all. Maybe he just didn't want somebody else's work in front of his art.
Right.
And I, with the women, I think I understand it, but clearly we are sending a message about tomorrow.
Sure.
So, and the 2 guys, the sculptor and the other guy, well, I think that says a lot, but
Sure.
there are a lot of good men out there that understand that we need each other.
Sure, sure. Now, with Fearless Girl being on Wall Street in front of the bull, which represents many financial institutions that help make this world kind of flow, you've created Fearless Girl into an NFT, which is also an amazing way for people to advance financially in investments.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
with
actually very
cryptocurrency
excited.
being as popular as it is right now, and it's going to be even more so, cryptocurrency is based on incredible blockchain technology, which is going to advance us into the future. So having Fearless Girl as an NFT makes perfect sense.
There is one thing I want to correct you so everybody out there knows, because a lot of people don't realize we moved Fearless Girl from in front of the bull over to the New York Stock Exchange. So now she stands up against the New York Stock Exchange, which is I think the next best.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
It is Wall Street, right? So, but yes, I am very excited about the NFTs. I think I defer to you because you probably know about crypto much more than I do, definitely do. But I think that for me, Fearless Girl really did turn my life upside down. And I spend a lot of time doing things that don't have anything to do with sculpting, but that are around Fearless Girl. So when I started to create the storyboards for the NFTs, I got really excited, because it was my first time that I was being creative again. And when you're an artist, you really need that, right?
Sure.
And I
Yeah.
haven't had that. So I read something, and I don't remember the exact statistic, but it was like 96% of our body has stardust particles in it or something.
Wow.
Crazy like that.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of ruminating in my head that my friend had brought up to me. And then I saw the Hubble spacecraft, and then I, there was a legal dispute around Fearless Girl. So I wanted to make sure that these NFTs were just beautiful aesthetic renderings of Fearless Girl. And I had the idea of Fearless Girl as a universal being. So she actually, in our Superstar micro movie, it's a minute and 23 seconds, and it tells the real story. So, a lot of NFTs are just static.
Sure.
Just like Fearless Girl moving in the wind, I'm really attracted to motion. I always have been. So we have 3 tiers of NFT, and all 3 of them move. And so
And they are amazing. They're
Thank
so
you.
beautiful.
Thank
They're
you.
absolutely stunning.
I think they're beautiful. And my storyboards were brought to life by Michael Miller of 9ifx.net. Michael actually developed the 69th Emmy Award promo, and it was his skill with particles illusion that attracted me to him, because I have not done it, but particles illusion, I understand, is an enormous amount of time to control the particles. And he had done such a beautiful job in that 69th Emmy thing. So he was the perfect match, really. And he brought the storyboards to life. So in the Superstar micro movie, Fearless Girl, she becomes from a star explosion, and all the particles coagulate and they make Fearless Girl. And then in the Interstellar tier, which is the next one, it's a 14-second video. And I love it because it's super quick. It's, 14 seconds, right? But you have a Van Gogh sky, like purples and blues and very painted. Yeah, cool looking comet, right? That comes out, hits Bowling Green Park, the original site where the bull was, and there's an explosion and Fearless Girl appears. So, and then the Stargazer trading cards, I think, are the perfect present for your wife, your girlfriend, your daughter on your daughter's bedroom. I see. That's where I see those beautiful moving nebula. It's moving nebula video and Fearless Girl and the 7 sketches that I made.
Sure. Those who don't really know what NFTs are, they're non-fungible tokens. They're actually physical entities where they're an amazing investment. I mean, they're on top of being gorgeous art that you can put on your wall or show off to your family and friends or your business. It's also an amazing investment just because with the future going into digital currency, at some point in time, we're going to go into it like a digital dollar, but cryptocurrency is going to continue to keep fighting along, and it's going to keep going up and up. And
Laura, you're the one that brought the statistics to me that the experts are saying 400% rise in Ethereum in
potential. Yep.
400% on your investment.
Yeah, by 2030, if you put $500 in times like 100% or like 400%, it's crazy how much money has been made in cryptos. There's a lot of millennials that have gotten in early to where they became millionaires. They got in early enough and they made it big. Now we're like we're in another run right now where things are, right now we're at a low, but that low is going to go shooting up to a high. And so like in the future, especially with Ethereum, with the 3.0 and other technologies that are coming along, the value of your NFT, because it's based on Ethereum, is going to go through the roof. Imagine what that value will be in 5 to 10 years, and that you can display at your home, or in your business, or like a nonprofit organization where people would be in awe looking at your artwork.
It would be so much fun to have it on display.
Sure.
There was in Germany, it was a pediatric pain center that contacted me. They would be perfect for a NFT to empower the kids.
Sure.
The kids could watch it.
Or like a hospital.
Right.
A children's hospital would be like perfect.
It would be so much fun. That. Well, the point is you're not just investing in crypto, you're investing in diversity and equality.
Yes,
and that's an excellent investment. So I hope that people will embrace this figure. I think that to bring an iconic, historic work into NFTs is kind of very unique. Yeah. And I hope that she will be embraced.
So can you explain how it can be displayed, just so people can get a better picture of that?
Yeah, I was going to I just posted on social media, I think yesterday or the day before, I found a cool article on the top 8 displays for NFTs in 2022. So it's actually, there's a link on my website for that, and they all run about $500, but you can't see it. I have the back there of Fearless Girl and the bull behind me, but I'm sitting on the couch and there's a wall here, and I'm going to build a whale's tail that's going away. And I always wanted to put a painting underneath that. And now I've decided I'm going to do an NFT display. So that I have this moving art, and then I can just run all my NFTs in a continuous run,
Oh, cool.
I think it'd be so cool. So didn't I tell you I went to Coin Agenda in Puerto Rico in December? It's really wonderful because everybody comes and there's lots of presentations, but it doesn't matter what your level of expertise is in crypto or in NFTs. Everybody's welcome and everyone can ask any question. No question is too dumb. But when I was there was this really bright guy who presented, and he's like, oh, you need to come to Carly's restaurant because we're doing the signing of the Declaration of Abundance. And I was like, oh, I love that, where you psychologically commit to abundance in your future, which is perfect for NFTs, right? And so we went, and then everybody left there, and we went around the corner to this club. It was a gallery, but it was a club. They had a little bar upstairs, but the entire thing was moving NFT digital art. They had a huge wall with one scene after another. It was amazing. And I'm really hooked on NFTs as moving art. So I remember they had.
No, that is so cool.
It was so cool. Really, like they had one guy that had photographed a lion, beautiful lion face, that was split into 4 quadrants, and each quadrant spun in on itself. It is like a whole new kind of art. And I'm an artist. I mean, it's cool. It's
very cool.
I've been thinking, my space is really small. And so I've been thinking, okay, where can I put my NFT display?
Sure.
I have this one spot, but
so how big are they? Like, how big are your NFTs? Like when somebody gets a trading card. So say that
it's such a good question. We'll post it on the website.
Okay,
the NFT homepage that we have built. It's a custom platform where you can link to pay with your MetaMask wallet, or you can use a credit card, or you can use PayPal. And if you have PayPal and you've got Venmo connected, and Bitcoin Lite, Bitcoin, Ethereum, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can buy these NFTs with pretty much everything with those three options. But I should post the size, and I will. I'll find that out tomorrow. We'll get it posted. I do think that the micro movie is probably quite large, but I think the Stargazer trading cards are probably a little bit smaller because we were limited by the Nebula, the Hubble spacecraft.
Sure.
So whatever that was, that's what we're limited to. But I will post it there. And again, the platform that we built is custom, and it's fearlessgirl.us/NFT/. That's
great. So what's next? What's next for you?
With art or with Fearless Girl?
Fearless Girl.
Well, so Fearless Girl, every viable nonprofit out there has come to me, and they want to spread these ideals and educate the people of the world about why we need to accept each other, about why we need to work with one another. I want to do a little video that goes around and looks at the equality sites in New York, and then Fearless Girl takes her position and she freezes into another monument. So
very cool.
Yeah. I mean, the next drop will be really creative, but this is the first drop around an iconic and historic work. And yes, I think she's a good investment. The market's down. This is
completely a great investment. I can't wait to buy one, and also display in my house. Yeah, and show it off to my friends.
Two of those trading cards, and they are randomly delivered, but two of them have 360 renders that spin all the way around. I love them.
Oh, that's they're so pretty. They're really they're more than just pretty. They're really cool. They're very, very cool.
Thank you so much.
Definitely be an attention getter.
If I had a daughter, I would be putting it on her wall.
Sure. Or even a son, I mean, it's for everybody, it's
my favorite press photo was the little boy with the red jacket that got his picture taken with Fearless Girl. It's really good. I used to smile because I'd go up to Bowling Green Park and there'd be this Eon song line of little girls and women trying to get their picture taken with Fearless Girl. And I always loved it when I saw the little boy come up. And I remember being in Argentina at the stock exchange there, and I did a little presentation in the evening. And I met this wonderful little boy who already understood why he needs to work with little girls, right?
Yeah.
It's really just a beautiful message, and it's effective. We're more profitable together.
Yeah, it's definitely a very effective form of symbolism. Anybody from any country that speaks any language can understand what Fearless Girl is about. I thank you. I appreciate everything you've done.
And I appreciate you interviewing me today. So that's wonderful to get the word out. Please support Fearless Girl by buying an NFT.
Yes. If you're going to be investing into crypto anyway, the NFTs, which are very, very popular right now, this would be such a magnificent investment. Thank you so much for joining us on Your Business TV. If you want to find out more about Kristen and her artwork, you can go to visbalsculpture.com. If you want to find out more about Fearless Girl NFTs and how you can buy them, you can go to fearlessgirl.us/NFT. Thank you again. And if you want to catch more episodes of Your Business TV, make sure catch us on YouTube, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time.